Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to bring attention to a drought crisis that is affecting California and the San Joaquin Valley. 3 years of below-average rainfall have created tremendous hardships in valley communities that are the backbone of California's agriculture economy. We have heard time and time again about the deep financial impacts affecting all regions of our country. But in places like Detroit and in places like the San Joaquin Valley, where you have 30 and 40% unemployment, it is no longer a deep recession, but it is a depression. Farmers and farm workers in the San Joaquin Valley grow over 350 different crops, employing tens and thousands of people, providing half the nation's fruits and vegetables, #1 in dairy industry, and a host of other important agricultural commodities that are not subsidized, that don't use subsidized water, that in fact are critical to healthy diets for Americans and provide a tremendous balance of payments on our trade efforts abroad. Sadly, though, 3 critical years of drought shortage have had devastating effect on communities in the San Joaquin Valley in a mine district. My district and Congressman Cardozo's district is at ground zero, where we have communities that have 30 and 40% unemployment, communities that have 10 and 12,000 people, 30,000 people, 50,000 people. When a third of the people in your community don't have jobs, it is a depression. Today, clearly our environmental regulations are not working. We have an inability to move water around California. And we know that if this drought lasts a 4th and 5th year, Katie bar the door. These are food lines in communities in my district. The irony is these are some of the hardest working people you'll ever meet. Normally they would be working in fields, working in processing facilities, putting food on America's dinner plate. Sadly, they're in food lines. How horrific in America. Many of my colleagues for the last 5 months, have been working to try to bring attention between our state representatives, our governor, and here our president and the new administration in town. Because we know in California that, like other parts of the country, droughts and floods are cyclical. This is an almond orchard that has been pulled out because of a lack of water. So, to that degree, Congressman Cardozo and I began in January meeting with the new administration, laying out a host of administrative efforts that we thought, with flexibility, could allow us to move water around from parts of the state that have water. We have met with Secretary Salazar and his staff, with the Mid-Pacific region and their staff time and time again, the governor and his director of water resources, and we have brought to the attention to the president and his White House staff the fact that they should come to the valley and see firsthand the devastating impacts. We need to have flexibility during times of drought. Clearly, people are as important as the other environmental balances and trade-offs that are there. If the Environmental Species Act were working, we would not have decline in the fisheries that has taken place over the last 2 decades. So we're working on short-term efforts to try to deal with the current situation in the event that this drought lasts a 4th or a 5th or a 6th year. The last drought we had in California lasted 6 years, from 1988 to 1993. I predict, my colleagues, that if in fact this drought lasts a 4th or 5th year, California will be rationing water in Southern California and in the Bay Area, and we will see a horrific set of circumstances affecting our state. So it's time to act now, both on the short-term remedies as well as the long-term remedies. We need to try to do everything we can to plan for the next year in the event that this drought continues. We need to provide flexibility at the federal and state pumps to move water around, make water banks work. And yes, in the long term, we need to fix the plumbing system in the Delta. California has 38 million people. By the year 2030, it's estimated we will have 50 million people. We have a water system designed for 20 million people. It cannot work. So with a larger coalition of the Latino Water Caucus, we marched on water in April. We're going to continue to march. We're going to continue to try to seek out our colleagues who want to constructively help us with the administration to understand that both short-term and long-term investments in California infrastructure is critical if we are going to solve this problem. This is a forerunner of what's occurring not just here in California, but around the world. Water is the lifeblood of man's ability to produce food and fiber. What the problems we're having in California today are happening around the world. We need to act today. I yield the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields. The chair recognizes the gentleman from New Mexico, Mr. Heinrich, for 5 minutes.